So this is what I think it looks like when science and faith inform one another. It's like breathing with both lungs. It's like running with both legs. It's like seeing with both eyes. And that's both for our own appreciation and for our ministry. For our own appreciation, we can taste and see God's love through both revelation and reason. And that makes for a richer banquet. And in terms of our pastoral ministry, it just gives us more tools for helping people in the midst of their struggles and meeting them where they are. But let me just give a practical example. I was teaching in a lay ministry program, and I was teaching them the classic proofs for the existence of God with a little bit of science sprinkled in. Now, these are people who already believe, and they're committed to ministry, but you'd be amazed how consoled they were to find that reason was on their side too. And as they exercised that muscle, it strengthened them in the gifts that God had given them, and it made them stronger in ministry. So St. Thomas Aquinas says that coming up with reasons for the faith is both for the exercise and the consolation of the faithful. Were they exercised by having to work through these proofs and the scientific elements? You bet. And that made them stronger in their ministry. And were they consoled by finding that reason and faith could come together? Absolutely. And that made them stronger in their witness, stronger in ministry, and stronger in witness. That's what it looks like when science and theology come together.
When science and faith inform one another, it just looks glorious. When I can look outside at the stars or help students to see just the property around our school as if it's a sacred text, and then understanding the depth behind each of the different creatures that we share our lives with, it really helps me understand both the science better and deepens my faith in God.
The interaction between science and faith was very well expressed in the early Middle Ages by a member of my own order, St. Anselm of Canterbury, who was one of the early scholastic philosopher-theologians. And he said that theology, and indeed really the whole of human striving for God, is faith-seeking understanding, fides quaerens intellectum. You may hear that phrase several times during the course of people you talk to on this subject. And my take on that, my understanding of that, is that it is, on the one hand, our conviction that there is meaning and purpose in the universe, that there is a meaning and a purpose that is articulated most clearly in the gospel and in our received tradition from the church, that God has loved the world into existence and continues to love it, and that God has entered into relationship with it in a way that is most clearly manifested in the sacraments and invites us to be loving in return. Well, that conviction, that faith, seeks to understand how the whole of the world that God loves, that God made, that God entered into, can be a reflection of the glory of God. So faith is seeking not only understanding, but contemplation. The desire to see God within creation is constantly seeking to discover more and more of God to contemplate, to behold. So all the things that science reveals, all the beautiful complexities and interactions become reflections of the glory of God, of things we never imagined could be reflections of the divine glory. So science is an opportunity for us to discover more of the beauty of God, to behold and to love.
I think one of the things that's important to keep in mind, and John Paul emphasizes this, is that there is this wisdom of the cross, which represents a challenge to reason. It challenges reason to recognize the way in which the human person is oriented towards this self-transcending desire for the truth. That is, we're called always to go outside of ourselves and to recognize a truth that goes beyond what can be contained in our knowledge, in our categories. And that this can be a great danger to reason, it can be experienced as a threat, but if reason is able to accept this and to reconcile it, then this can then become a great source of strength, both for faith and for reason. Faith is not going to replace reason, and reason is not going to eliminate the need for faith. But if we can have both, we can have, in a sense, the best of both worlds. We can have the complete picture of the human business. We can have the precise, rigorous knowledge of nature that we get from science done well, and we can get the larger context and the meaning, the purpose of the whole of human life that religion is uniquely able to offer us.